All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a fantastic day. Gonna do just a little bit of chart analysis. And before I get into that real quick, you can see on the little intro screen, we got a couple books here. That's right, books. You know, them funny paper things with all the weird little text and writing inside that tell a nice little story. Well, if you didn't know, I'm a total book nerd, mostly audiobooks, but I got a bunch of print ones too. And if you are like me and you happen to be a liberty freedom type of minded individual, then you would absolutely love this little series here. It's only 2 parts, and it's by Thomas A. Watson. The first one's called The Bonner Incident, and it is a seriously badass book. Like, seriously, like, put it this way, if anybody who is fans of like Shooter with Mark Wahlberg or the book series that's based off of, you will love this, particularly if you're not a big fan of the NFA or the ATF or anything like that. But you know, I'm not going to get too deep into that because YouTube probably hate me for it. If they knew what the book was about, they'd already hate me for it. But real quick, and the quote of the day: there is no such thing as a little freedom. Either you are all free or you are not. By Walter Cronkite, of all people. Can't say I know a whole heck of a lot about him. I know that he was a reporter during the Vietnam War. We had that famous quote that the war is unwinnable. But other than that, I honestly don't know much. I don't really care. It's a good quote. So, looking into the chart for today, as you can see, most of the day was sideways. Just sideways, slithering like a snake. Now, we did just come off of this big little bunny hill right here. But even before that was its bigger, badder brother, the big bunny hill over here. As a matter of fact, this is like a big West Virginia hill over here. Kind of sitting right there at the base of the Appalachians. Little Indian mound going on right there. And this was basically just a miniature version, but the exact same thing. Look at that. And you'll remember the last time I made a video was when we were up somewhere in this area over here. And it was, you know, is this little bullish pump going to continue? And my opinion was, I thought we were going to roll over. Not 100%, but that was, you know, the way I was leaning. And as you can see, we did exactly that. I honestly wasn't sure that it was going to do it that hard, but I did say, you know, I was looking for a short, because when we get these big, gigantic pumps, you tend to have bigger corrections. And as you can see, I mean, mirror image just scaled down. Kind of proved my point again. And we're on the 10-minute. I'm not going to zoom too far out just because we'll see it here on the higher time frames. But looking at it right now, we just had another little step down. Oh, and to check in with our little Gann square here before I get into the Market Cipher, you could see, you know, we were playing off of that, played off of that. Kind of hovered around this fan line right here. For jumping straight through this ring right here, coming all the way up to the back side of that ring before we got the rejection. Came back down, again played off this first ring 3 times basically. A little bit of resistance back up here on the fan line, and again, now we're going back down to the next fan line, which you can see we had support previously at before that little bullish run right there. And if you scroll back a little ways, it's coming from this point right here. So we don't even need to draw a trend line. We've already got it. Had it there for a moment. Not too shabby, not too shabby. Now, as you can see, you know, the scaling's a little off, so it seems narrower up here than down here. But you know, we've got this fan line up here that we'll have to contend with. We have a 3-way intersection right there. So it would be interesting to see if we head up to that little convergence point. Again, there's no specific reason that it has to, but something, just a curiosity that I'm watching for. And then we have, again, the support one here. So we're kind of inside this little box right here where we can pretty much do whatever, and you know, it won't have very much to do with what we have on the screen right now. Now, you know, we could throw a whatchamacallit here, a fib. Oh, I'm not gonna be super accurate about it, but you know, we could throw in a Fibonacci retracement right there. See, okay, you know, we're playing off of this golden pocket right here when we bounced back up. Probably even a little low on this right here. And you know, a lot of volume right around this 786 level. Now that's coming from the top. If we wanted to, we could reverse it. And you see we kind of played off the bottom of that a little bit. Again with that line. This one a little bit further away. But you know, just a lot of straight dumping and pumping. You know, a little bit of action here about the middle. So if we do come back above these levels right here, you know, it's a lot of open seas. At least in the, you know, the immediate past here. And again, you know, not much going on there. We did have a couple little levels right here that we could extrapolate, but you can see one of them is exactly this. Pretty much the bottom of that golden pocket right there. And then already, you know, even up in this little pit stop on our way down, you know, we've got that support and resistance going on right over here already. So we shall see. You know, even this guy played out to up here. So I'm not going to go drawing out big support and resistance lines just yet. If we look like we're going to start breaking through maybe this area right here or breaking down, we still kind of have this coming up, but at that point I would look at some support resistance, unless we want to really like dig in close and start looking at, you know, okay, we definitely got, and you can almost call this like a channel right here. I mean, I hate to do it this big, especially in a short term type of thing, but you know, maybe call one there. And you know, I might just call it a line right there. And as you can see, we are at that line right now. But let's jump up a little. You know what? Let's go all the way out. Let's go to the weekly. Let's check out the weekly. Let me hide that guy real quick. Bring Market Cipher back up. As you can see on the weekly, we are going down. Down in the money flow. That said, though, you know, we're kind of curving out sideways a little bit. Potentially maybe doing this, but I'm not putting a ton of faith into that just because, you know, we did have a nice big curvature through here. So it's kind of up for grabs at the moment. You know, like here we had a pretty straight cross. No data back there. But it is, you know, it is potentially kind of flattening out. I'd say we're at, you know, what's the word? Kind of a a contentious little point here where we could really go either way. You know, you can already see that we are not mimicking this previous dip. You know, maybe if we hit here and then came up, but you know, we got a second leg to our drop right here. And we're kind of zigzagging sideways for the most part. And also happen to be zigzagging sideways in a generally upward direction, which unless we really break out of that, I will be forever nervous that we will break down out of it. Which I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense, because it's like if we don't break up, I'm afraid we'll break down. Well, where the hell else is going to go? But taking a look down here, you can see our RSIs are starting to go sideways as well. But generally speaking, you know, we are in a, you know, bearish direction along with the money flow. But we are spread. Not a whole lot, but, you know, in terms of the weekly, as you can see looking back here, it's quite a bit. You know, we started getting spread back here just as the money flow was coming down. We still dipped into the red, but it was weakening. It was, you know, starting to go sideways. And then we just had that last little push to the downside before we started the entire bull run. So we will see. Whoops. Yeah, we've got this action going on. We haven't even touched the 50, let alone below it. Even up here, we haven't even peaked below the 50. So it would be nice to see this turn around, but I'm not gonna place all my marbles in that basket just yet, because generally speaking, if the trend is your friend, the trend is still overall, you know, pointing down. You know, even if this is sideways, you know, when you're generally coming down, going sideways for a little bit isn't going up. Let's jump to the monthly real quick. Let's see what the monthly says, you know. Same thing with the money flow. You know, RSI is just ever so slightly down, as you can see there. You know, almost sideways, but really, you know, still down. Although you can see on the DBSI up here, you know, 14, 17, 18, 9, where it'd be nice to see us losing that bearish pressure on top. You know, went from -5 to 0. I know the 0 is a little hard to see right there. Bullish pressure increasing. Hasn't broken 0 yet, but it's not negative. I guess, you know, it's got something going for it. And just looking back in the past here, and again, monthly candles, you know, what did we do? We went 14, 17, 18, 14, 17, 18. We're all the way down to 6 on this guy. And again, we still got 20 days left on this candle. So this very well could just keep increasing, turn into a green candle potentially. You know, and even here, and we're going back up with a 2 and then a 9, 16, 17, getting that nice little pump peak. Looks like we don't have enough data to go back to here. Let's look a little closer. So down here on the 5-day, as you can see, a little bit clearer, talking about this RSI here. Definitely heading down. The biggest area of spread was right about here. So it makes sense when you're looking at it because, you know, you're going down, you're going down, you're going down. As it's spreading, it's weakening, it's weakening. And then we had an end to all that downward trajectory, even though RSI is still coming down. You know, not looking super hot right now on the 5-day with the little red diamond and the 12. But again, when you get up to these super high time frames, it's hard to take one candle as you know, anything real solid. So you can see right here we had our little red diamond kind of confirming the downtrend. 16 on the top side. By the time we got to the next candle, we were coming back up a little bit. Now this one here, VWAP, just crossed over to the downside. That does not portend well. Foretells of a dark future. This last crossover was very small though. And you can see, kind of got a trend of the downside action on the VWAP getting smaller and smaller, but same thing on the top side. So potentially having a little, you know, a little VWAP squeeze here. We'll see if we bounce off the zero. You know, how are we just getting less, basically none. That could be something nice. Do have to watch the money flow here. Now, so far we are higher than we were right there. And I don't know if you can see it very well, but there's you know, the little dotted line that shows where the money flow is at right this moment. And its lowest point was about there. So we got what, 20.2 compared to about 16. So technically our money flow is coming up, even if it's kind of just been going sideways. So let's zoom in a little more. You know, 13 to 12. Hard to really read too much into that. Kind of the same thing going on with the money flow here. And the VWAP did cross down back here, but it's barely been, you know, moving to the downside. It's not sideways. It is down, but hardly. -2 over the course of, what is this, 6 days. So again, it just kind of reads sideways action for the time being. 2-day. The 2-day has not been nice to us lately. Let's see. What does the Oracle foretell today? Potentially. Depends. We don't really have anything else to connect that one, but, you know, generally trending upward, even though it's a crappy uptrend for the actual price. Did just cross back to the top side on the VWAP here, and RSIs are generally heading up, although we do seem to be spreading more and more as we go, so that kind of sucks. So really what it seems like is we have the money flow getting worse, and even though we are, you know, coming back up after this big downtrend, it does not have enough strength, you know, to equal that angle, if you will. So it's an uptrend, but it's a crappy one. And it would be nice to see something break that weakness, because if it doesn't, it's likely coming down. On the daily, just crossed to the downside. Kind of the same thing. RSI is generally heading up, kind of pointed down right at the moment, but you know, this could be just oscillating. Money flow coming back up, almost crossing into the green right now. That would be a pretty good sign. You know, these moves are getting a little bit tighter, you know, between the distance here and the distance there. And it's almost hard to call this one two separate moves, but you know, you call it your up and down right there. And, you know, as the oscillations get tighter, it's like a spring coiling up. Eventually it's going to snap one way or another. And it's hard to tell until you really get closer to that time. All right, this is not the right tool to do that. Oh, you flipping times on me. So, you know, if we've got... Ooh, I like that. I like it when they intersect on the 0 line. Although we kind of took a little bit off the tip on that one. Just the tip. So we shall see. You know, we were kind of coming up here, but man, if this plays out, obviously it's not confirmed yet. Got basically 20 hours left on this candle. You know, we could get, I mean, this could basically just change. You know, you wouldn't even need a green dot because it'd still just be bouncing off of this 0 line. But, you know, we would like to see this come up. I mean, it's getting close enough that it's going to break pretty soon here. Figure what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I could hardly even see it taking more than 5 days. Even if we kept this little sideways action going straight through the weekend, you know, maybe like a Sunday night, Monday morning at the latest, I would expect to see us break out of this sideways action. If it doesn't happen prior to that, you know, we could have a Friday. Because I mean, generally speaking, you know, people will say when you have a pattern, and usually they're talking about up here, but you know, you tend to break out somewhere around the 3/4 point, between 3/4 and where they intersect. And these are obviously going to behave a little differently than if you know, had a pattern up here. Because it's not technically, you know, price action. It's not the price candles. May leave that there. And 12 hour, you know, about the same thing. Definitely a little more top heavy on this one. 6 hour, let's see. Yeah, potentially rounding out the bottom on this guy here. RSIs. Yeah, kind of dependent on how you look at it. Whether you look at it as like this was the top area, and we've just had this wicked journey to the downside, or if you consider this the top, which wouldn't be a very good one, but it could be a shorter move to the downside. Because I mean, this is, you know, fair enough, top to bottom RSI move right there, all on its own. You know, up, down, up. Not quite. Maybe something like that. But things are just a little sketchy. Yeah. bigger bearish moves compared to that little move on the green side there. Just still not a whole hell of a lot of bullish strength. I will say it seems like we've gotten a little bit more back, just, you know, based off of some of this nice little pump action right there, which we have definitely been missing for a little while. I mean, it's hard to even, you can't, those are just, you know, more little bunny hills, more little impulse waves. We really hadn't had, you know, bullish action since back here with that little last hurrah up there at the top. 4 hour. Yeah, VWAP working its way back up. Now, this is the thing that I've been noticing that I don't like, and this is another reason why I say it's kind of sketchy right now. You know, we had this wave, then we had this one, and got rejected, and we're heading back down. And let me see if I can find a past example. You know, you can see it in a little shorter term, but okay, here we go. Kind of a mirror image. But we had this wave, got rejected just below zero, and had a second one. Little baby turtle, mama turtle. And what happened over here, it came down, generally went sideways, and then started going up. And if you recall where we're at the moment, we came down. Sorry. Came down. Kind of had a pump up. It wasn't necessarily sideways. We've been sideways a little bit lately, but, you know, generally speaking, overall, it's still kind of channel. Not a great one. Could almost say, just nothing. I don't know. Nothing really works out great with the pattern. I know people like to draw some of these crazy shaped ones, and that's cool. That's whatever. That's on you. But if it's not really like clearly defined, I tend not to. No, I don't want that. Put too much trust in it. You know, you could kind of say like that, and then this guy. You know, if we came down here and tested this again, at that point, I'd be like, all right, we got a pattern. 2 points on each, early stages, to where I wouldn't be, you know, setting orders on either of them for like while I'm asleep. But it does give you an area to watch out for. Let's see, which one is this? Meh. I'll clear it out. I got enough stuff on the screen right now. Matter of fact. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's zoom in a little bit here. As we can see, it still looks like we're kind of rolling the bottom on this one, at least for the moment. You know, down here on Market Cipher B. See, you know, rolled over the top. And not only do we still have a little bit of room to the downside, but, you know, we often come down, stay in the green for a little while, and work our way back up. Now, it doesn't have to be that long of a time period, but I left my scribbles. But I would at least expect to come down, you know, and have this flip, turn green, before coming back up, as you can see. Like even on these short, quick ones. And how are we doing on the spread here? That's generally staying somewhat consistent on the spread. Let's see if we took a reading here. Call it 8, 27. What were we here? 23. Call it 43. So about 20 there. Yeah, I'd say we're fairly consistent on the spread between these RSIs. It's about a 20 gap straight through to the present. So it's not, it's not spreading more to where I'd think like, okay, this this bearish pressure is just about done. I'd say it can continue a little bit, but and if these start coming together and we, flip these two across each other and turn green, I could see us having a little bit more downside action. But again, that's just keep in mind, it doesn't never have to do anything. Like we see here, split, came together, did the flip, and headed right back up. Let's do the 30-minute here. Start looking at the here and now. What do we got? Man, super sketchy all through here. Had this crazy little pump and dump going on right there. Yeah, potentially heading back up here on the money flow. VWAP above 0. RSIs pointing up, looking like they hit a bottom right there. Where you can see we got that little V point right there. Right where that happened. DBSI numbers actually looking pretty good. 14, 17. If we were up in like 21, 22 right now, I'd have a little bit of skepticism. But more often than not, when you get those, those 20s right off the bat, right off the first couple candles, seems like it exhausts itself out of bullish pressure a lot quicker than when we get these nice buildups. But that is Bitcoin. That is your Bitcoin forecast for the day. I'd say, down here on the 15, starting to head back down a little bit. Money flow super sketchy. Honestly, don't expect much of anything, at least for another 2 hours. Likely maybe 5 hours. So I know where I'm at. Let's say it's like, 10, 18 right now. Usually around midnight, you tend to get a little bit of action, and then a lot more action about 3 in the morning, which is wildly inconvenient for me, but oh well. Let's take a look at Ethereum. Looking about the same. A little bit rough right there. This is a great example of what I was just talking about. So you can see this. Started off at 20, 21, 26, 27. Now we're already down to 14. And you can see we're starting to get, you know, lower tops on the candles here. VWAP starting to head down a little bit. RSI's kind of had a little bit of a lead up, back to bumping along the bottom maybe. Money flow, we shall see. It is coming up a tiny bit, but that could just be a, you know, immediate short-term little bump. Now, momentum wave, we do have plenty of room to go to the upside. So we'll see if this 14 can start turning into, like, you know, 15, 16. And maybe we got some staying power. Coming down to an 8 now. Starting to clip a little bit. But, yeah, money flow coming up, but it's kind of sideways right at the moment. We need a couple more candles before you really make a decision on a direction here. VWAP about the same spot. Now this one, money flows either looking at continuing, or I'd say we're like right at the bottom right now, maybe. Again, need a little bit more. We did have some bullish divergence off the bottom. Yeah. Increasing on the top side, but this candle did come out a little bit higher. Two, three, not super. Okay, I was just gonna say, from 2 to 3, not super bullish. Looks like maybe a little rejection right here on the VWAP. Let's go back there. Yeah, increasing on the bearish side. It's a little sketchy sideways action. Money flow is pointing down a little bit. And as the RSIs were coming up, you can see started spreading. And we kind of lost that upward strength. Gaining over here to the 13 now. You know, just looking at the VWAP, and you can never really kind of prejudge these patterns. Not really a pattern, but no, you can't really prejudge VWAPs because it's always just going to do whatever squirrely stuff that it does. But, you know, coming down here, bouncing off, it is kind of trending downward. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, no 4. And we've been getting shortchanged on them yellow X's lately. Where's my 4 at? Nope, still 3. Getting shorted. Woo, look at that. Got a big old spread right there. We'll see. I'm kind of going sideways a little bit. But I will say this, though. And again, this is a 3-minute. This is a very short time frame. But if this, you know, money flow kind of continues upward, this VWAP comes down and then crosses back over, could be seeing the money flow crossing into the green, which would mean that, you know, we come here, set a higher low, and be on our way. Now that's what I would like to see. And if that's the case, I might even be looking to enter a long off of that bottom. I just might. like to see these come back together, though. It's probably going to be a big determining factor. You know, we are tightening a little bit because this peak came down where this is just a wee little dip on the stochastic there. So that's what's up with Ethereum. Let's see if we zoom out a little bit. You know, do have a bit of a pattern forming right there. And, you know, just off the fact that ETH is setting a tidier pattern could lend a little bit more credence to the fact that Bitcoin's doing the same. A little ugly on this side. Don't necessarily like that. That doesn't line up super great over there either. Yeah, just, you know, weaker on the bullish side up here. Got this larger trend channel going on. You know, I did have somebody in the comments was asking about a Fibonacci channel. This is actually a decent little place to demonstrate that. So, you got your fib channel. Come on. Fib channel. Snap it to a low point. Now, rather than going straight to a high point, high point, come over here and you want to line up your line with another bottom, another swing low that we had right there, and then bring this guy up, and you see the blue line on top you want to line up with your swing high. Now, it doesn't matter if you do it over here or if you do it all the way back here. It's going to keep that same parallel angle to that first line that you drew. Personal preference, I like to try to keep, you know, this the cursor and the dotted line going straight vertical from the first point, but that's just a me thing. I'll call it about there. And taking a look just to see, because we kind of do have a large channel going here, even though, you know, this one up here, this orange line, and this one down here aren't perfectly parallel, but that's okay. What do we got? We got this 236. It's a little ways away, but kind of played off it with that bigger little bunny hill. Not a lot perfectly lining up. A lot of close calls. A little bounce off there. Support in that area. A little resistance there. Resistance there. Resistance there. You know, again, it's, you know, oftentimes, you know, it's, everybody likes to see when, you know, wicks come right down to your line and then bounce off. And myself included, I like to see that. But it's not always going to be as perfect and pretty as all that. Let's say, what if we, just out of curiosity, what if we stretch that back here? Lock that in on the top point there. Okay, not much better. But yeah, so that's your that's your fib channel. Same thing as a regular fib retracement, but you get to do it at an angle for a channel. And you also have this trend-based fib extension. I'll be honest with you, I got to do a refresher on this one. I did it in the damn video, and I already forgot. But I know it's 3 points. Yeah, say you were to grab that guy, then maybe came down here and grabbed the bottom, And you can see the one is actually up here as opposed to being at that point. And it is calculating based off of that trend that you picked. And this one actually worked out a little bit better than the channel, as you can see. You know, resistance there, a little support there, resistance there, so on, so forth. A lot of action around that golden pocket up there. I like that one a little better. Just out of curiosity. Holy crap, don't you do it. Let's say we came on the 4-hour here. So where's our next line? Next line's up here. Don't see. Granted, this is a much smaller term on this Gann square, but don't see very much that makes me want to keep it there. Which, oh crap, you know what? Yeah, we broke out of this guy. It's about time to update it. I really don't want to grab a new low for this corner. If anything, I might stretch this guy out. Let's see what happens. Let's say we line up. What happens if we go to that? It's super scrunched. It's actually not bad though, but so I lined up the 1-to-1 intersection with this low right here, but it doesn't buy me very much space looking ahead. So what if I were to go to like 0.5 by 0.5? Not the greatest, but not the worst either. So basically, figure if this is your 1 by 1 box right here, the middle point of this guy would be 0.5 by 0.5, and that extends your square out significantly. So if I were to line that up with the swing low over here, you can see, I mean, it's close. It's very close. I feel like it's not quite right yet, though. You can see where we're getting moves, you know, right in the generally the right area. Definitely with the fan lines, those are playing out pretty well. But let me see if we can line it up just a wee bit better. Now, it's actually not too bad right there. What do we got here? Bounced off that, came in, dipped when we got inside. Kind of pumped up on the way out, but came back, rode the outside, hit the intersection, went up. Getting hung up along this fan line before breaking through up to this one. Got some play going on up there. It's not exactly Leonardo da Vinci, but it's better than that modern art crap you find at the Museum of Art. I think I'll leave it for now. Unless we got a whole bunch of lines coming up in here, so I'd be curious to see how they play out. So let's see, is anybody doing anything special? Damn, broke out of this one too. I'm not gonna waste time on the video fixing this one, but you know, a little bit more of an upward trend going on with Polkadot. Let's see. Just out of curiosity. Yeah, VeChain picking back up against Ethereum. Yeah, Avalanche getting some, what would have been nice little scalps right there. Just out of curiosity, let's see, what would that come out to? Yeah, nice little 5.5er. Yeah, looking weak like everybody else. You can see these money flows are just over here looking like flat basketballs. Just even though we're getting that little bit of bounce, just doesn't want to play. As much as I love Pirate Coin, it is not a coin for trading. There's just not enough liquidity. Kind of sucks. Be nice to see it start blowing up. Speaking of Zcash, I've been loving all this love that the privacy coins have been getting lately, though. That's good. With everything going on in the world, not to mention me harping on freedom and liberty more than most people even probably care to hear me talk about it. We still like to see it. We like to see it. Let's see. S&P on the hourly. Starting to go sideways a little bit right here. Still trending upward on this money flow. Let's see. Let's do a 12-hour. Not looking great on the 12-hour. So again, you know, with everything we've been talking about, say you're over here looking at the S&P, what's the first thing that grabs your attention? First thing, we got money flow heading down. RSI is heading down. We have this general trend up here in the momentum waves heading down, but between here and here and here and here, we did have some bullish divergence. And now we have this potential little upward trend starting. So we'll see. Could the S&P be rounding back up? Since I got it on here, look at silver. Nothing too special, but up to 27. Nope. 20%. 20%. Guess it's a good thing I was buying back here. I don't know why I keep this on here. I don't even like this chart. Oil. Pulling back down. Where are we at? 106. Let it be so. As much as we like to see green candles on these charts, you know, what have you guys been having to pay at the pump lately? Because I know, like, I'm in an area that we are pretty lucky compared to a lot of places. It's not as bad, particularly California. But I'd be curious, you know, some of you guys that are in other countries, you know, what's fuel or gas or petrol going for near you? I'd be curious to hear. Is it jumping up like crazy? I know, I think I saw one chart the other day that was like, it was saying the most expensive gas prices, and it was going by like top 10 countries, and the US wasn't even in the top 10. So like, I think I saw Hong Kong had the highest. I think they were up at like $10 a gallon, and this was either like last Sunday or Monday or something. That's interesting. Just a little bit of difference. So this is altcoins, total cap. Total cap has a little bit more of an upward tilt to it, which means Bitcoin's kind of running the market at the moment. Not too much else going on there. But again, if you're still watching, jumping back to this guy right here, The Bonner Incident. Awesome, awesome, awesome book. You know, this is just the page over on Goodreads. And in case nobody thinks I actually read, let's see, jump to the home page real quick. I'll show you real quick. I'll show you. Let's see. Where's all my old... here we go. 1,007 books read. Damn, I passed 1,000. That's crazy. That is super crazy. I'm not actually currently reading 20. Most of them are ones that I was just like, eh. You know, you start, you don't finish, and I never updated it. Actually, that's what this one is here. I am actually finishing this one by Jeff Kirkham, Jason Ross, the guys who founded Ready Man. Good stuff, good stuff. Matter of fact, here, I'll show you what. They have this little reading challenge you could do every year where you set like a number of books that you want to read for the year. Then it kind of keeps track. Where is it? I know he's on this list somewhere. Ryan Show. Dude's an awesome writer. This series actually ended up being pretty decent. Here we go. James Razon. This dude does some seriously awesome series. Kind of specialized in doing like a World War III themed kind of series. And I think he's done like 2 or 3 of those series by now. He also had this Monroe Doctrine actually is his latest, you know, World War type fiction series, and very, very good. But he had one series, and the first book is called Rigged. And it just so happened that I was listening to that book just after the last presidential election. Dude, it is absolutely freaky how much the characters in the book were saying like verbatim the same thing that some of the politicians and stuff were saying in the news. I mean, it was crazy. But now obviously that Rigged book was about a rigged election. Not saying that's what happened, just saying it's a book. It exists. But it ended up turning into like a Civil War kind of situation. But it does an awesome job. I mean, I won't go too deep into it, but very good stuff. This guy here, new one by Bobby Akart, Black Gold, is about, also ironically, it's about like some eco-terrorists going after the Texas oil industry. And, you know, oil prices shoot up and all that. Pretty much like what we've been seeing lately, just for a different reason. Blue Plague, outstanding zombie series if you're into zombies. People's Republic. Man, I think there's more books to this series, but they're not on audio yet, which sucks, because that was a really good one. But all right, everybody, I hope you all have a fantastic day. Tomorrow, I'll be coming back with some more actual like informative stuff. We are going to do... the hell am I doing? I forgot. I wrote it down. I don't know. I'm having a brain fart. I'm tired. This video is already pushing hour long. So, but tomorrow we'll have something good for you. It'll be informative, hopefully interesting. Little lineup of what I got coming out soon. We've got different like perpetual contract trading exchanges. Got that one coming up. Getting into some basic stuff of like what is crypto just in and of itself. A lot of beginner stuff, but a lot of it is probably stuff that people who've even been in the crypto space for a while still just don't really know, because not a lot of people really talk about it. And I'd rather kind of teach like some of the basics, like what things are, as opposed to just assuming everybody knows. So we'll talk about, you know, what is crypto, what was Bitcoin. Everybody knows like how it got started and came about, but you know, most people just hear blockchain and they know distributed ledger, and that's about the extent of it. So we'll get into a little bit of like what the F is this stuff. Oh, decentralized exchanges. Gonna do a video on those. You know, actually show each of them. Maybe look at the pros and cons of, you know, various different ones. But all right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for subbing. Thanks to the people who hit the like button. Honestly, I still don't care that much, but you know, just to see that, you know, there's some appreciation, or, you know, you're getting something out of it. That's all I care about. You know, algorithm's gonna algorithm, whatever. Not talk enough crazy crap that it probably doesn't like me already. So, good night.